In lesson 6.1, we learned how to graph linear systems of equations. Equations, that means when we have equal signs. But what if we replace these equal signs for different signs? Like in this case, in the top one, 2x minus y is greater or equal than 8, and on the bottom, x plus y is greater than 1. So this is now a linear system of inequalities. And even though there are a few different methods to solve linear system of inequalities, in this unit, we're just going to review the graphic method. And as the name says, we need to graph these two equations, or well, these two inequalities. And let's start with the top one. 2x minus y is greater or equal than 8. We actually learned how to graph this one on lesson 6.1 part 3. If you want to review all the details and remember why this is a straight line with a y-intercept at -8 and an x-intercept at 4, review lesson 6.1 part 3. But this line just represents the equation. This is the graph of an equation, and we do not have an equation. We have an inequality that says that 2x minus y is greater or equal than 8. So how do we represent an inequality in a graph? 2x minus y is greater or equal than 8. Greater or equal means we are above the line that is represented in the equation. So we are anywhere above this line. Anything up to the top part of this line is part of our solution of 2x minus y is greater or equal than 8. So when we have the greater or equal, it means above the line. But there is another detail to pay attention to, and it is we have the little line that means equal sign, because 2x minus y is also allowed to be equal to positive 8. This means we are allowed to have solutions within the line. So that's why the line is a solid line. Now, this is the graph that represents our blue inequality. Let's move on to the bottom inequality. X plus y is greater than 1. One more time, we learned how to graph this one in lesson 6.1 part 3. So if you don't remember why this is a straight line with a y-intercept at 1 and an x-intercept at 1, review lesson 6.1 part 3. But one more time, this line just represents the equation, the graph of the equation. And we have an inequality. It says that x plus y is greater than 1. So because it's greater than 1, we need to graph this inequality, and we have to do it above the line. But before we do the graph and color the region above the line, we have to pay attention to this one doesn't have the equal sign. X plus y is not allowed to be 1. So we are not allowed to have anything in this line. And because we're not allowed to have any points in this line, we change it for a dotted line. The dotted line means we are not allowed to pick any point touching that line. And now that we took care of the line, of the dotted line, we can paint the top part because, well, this is still greater than 1. So greater than 1 means above the line. The only difference between the purple and the blue one is on the blue one, we are allowed to touch the line. On the purple, we are not allowed to touch the line. And that's it. This is the graph of our two inequalities. But what does this mean? Where is our answer? How can we tell what's the solution of the linear system of inequalities? All we have is the graph. Well, we have to look at, there is a little intersection region where the blue and the purple intersect, and is right here. This region is intersected by the two regions of our inequality. So let's delete everything else. This is our solution. Now let's fix it a little bit because, well, we don't really have a top limit. This function, this region keeps going up and up to infinity. And remember, the purple line cannot be touched, so let's turn it into a dashed line. This region is our solution. What does it mean? It means any point that is on this region is considered part of the solution of the linear system of inequalities. the linear system of equations was rigid. We only had one solution. For nonlinear, we had two, three sometimes. But we have a rigid number, a finite number of solutions, a very small and a strict number of solutions. For the inequality, any point falling in that region is part of the solution. Let's view a couple of examples. This point is on the region, has a y value of 8 and an x value of 4. Well, this is a solution. X equals 4, y equals 8. But we could have another point, this one, with an x of -4 and the y of 10. And both points are part of the solution because are going to meet the criteria of the linear system of inequalities. And as said before, any point that is lying on this region, any of these points that are shown on the screen, are part of the solution because those points are within the region of our solution. So for linear system of inequalities, we have a region of solutions.